All right, today we are diving deep. We're going to connect a truly massive, life-saving medical breakthrough to the tiniest, most intricate little machine inside a single one of your cells. It's a wild story, so let's get into it.
I mean, how is that even possible, right? A simple mix of sugar, salt, and water being one of the greatest medical breakthroughs of the entire 20th century? It seems way too simple. But that's the mystery we're going to unravel today. And the answer, you'll see, is hidden in the absolutely brilliant design of our own bodies.
So, this whole story kicks off with a drink that sounds incredibly basic. It's called oral rehydration therapy, or ORT. Now, think about diseases like cholera. They cause this catastrophic dehydration. And just drinking water, well, it's not enough. But you add just the right amount of salt and sugar to that water, suddenly it becomes this unbelievable lifesaver.
And listen, that's not me exaggerating. This simple drink is right up there with giants like vaccines and antibiotics. The crazy part? It's the cheapest and easiest of the three to use. So, to really get why it's so powerful, we need to zoom in. I mean, way, way in.
Okay, we're going microscopic now. The absolute key to this whole puzzle is something called the cell membrane. And look, it's not just some simple bag holding the cell's guts in. Nope, it's this incredibly sophisticated gatekeeper that controls every single thing that goes in and out. Yeah, think of it like this. Every single one of your cells is its own little fortress, and the cell membrane, that's the wall. See, inside the cell, you've got all these different compartments with really specific jobs, and they need to maintain a very, very precise internal environment. The cell membrane is the border control that makes it all possible. It decides what gets a visa to come in and what gets kicked out. So this border control system basically has two modes of operation. On one hand, you've got unregulated transport. This is for tiny molecules like oxygen and carbon dioxide. They're small enough they can just kind of slip right through the membrane, no questions asked, no energy needed. But for most of the important stuff, the real cargo like glucose and ions, the cell needs a special team of proteins to manage the traffic. And that is regulated transport. All right, so let's meet this elite team of protein helpers. There are three main players, and each one has a super specific job in controlling who crosses that border. First up, you've got the pumps. These guys are the heavy lifters of the team. They use the cell's main energy source, a molecule called ATP, to literally push other molecules against their natural flow. It's like forcing water to go uphill.
Next, we have the channels. You can think of these as high-speed gated tunnels. They don't use any energy. When their gate swings open, they let specific ions just flood through at incredible speeds, but always flowing downhill, from a high concentration to a low one.
And finally, we have the transporters. These act like little revolving doors. They grab onto a specific molecule on one side, change their shape, and then carry it across the membrane to release it on the other. Some of them carry just one thing at a time, but others, called co-transporters, are really cool. They move two different things at once. So let's just quickly recap that. Pumps use energy, ATP, to go against the gradient. Channels are super fast tunnels that go with the gradient. And transporters are the shapeshifters that can carry things across. Remember this team, okay? Because these three are the heroes of our story. Okay, so now that we know the team, let's focus our attention on one very specific place in the body where this transport team is on a critical mission: the lining of your small intestine. This is ground zero for absorbing all the nutrients from the food you eat. The cells here, they're absolute masters of their craft. They're what we call polarized, which just means they have a distinct top and bottom. The top side, called the apical side, faces into your intestine where the food is. The bottom side, the basolateral side, faces your bloodstream. And they're sealed together with these tight junctions, so nothing can leak in between them. It's a perfect seal. And to top it all off, that apical side is covered in these tiny little fingers called microvilli, which create a massive surface area to absorb as much as possible. Now, here is the absolute foundation of this whole system. On the basolateral side, remember, that's the side facing your blood, we find our first team member, the sodium-potassium pump. Its one and only job is to constantly, relentlessly pump sodium out of the cell. What this does is it creates a really steep sodium gradient. And that gradient, it acts like a charged battery, ready to power everything else.
And here's how that little engine works, step by step. First, 3 sodium ions from inside the cell lock into the pump. Then, the pump uses a bit of that ATP energy to change its shape. And in doing so, it spits the 3 sodium ions outside the cell. Now on the outside, 2 potassium ions lock in, which causes the pump to change back to its original shape, releasing the potassium inside the cell. This cycle just goes on and on and on, constantly keeping that sodium level inside the cell really, really low. Okay, so now let's see how the cell uses that battery we just charged up. On the other side of the cell, the apical side, facing your food, there's a co-transporter. It's called the 2-sodium 1-glucose symporter. And it takes advantage of that powerful downhill rush of sodium wanting to get back into the cell, and it uses that energy to pull a molecule of glucose in along with it. It's like a free ride for the glucose. Then, once the glucose is inside, another transporter on the basolateral side, called GLUT2, just lets that glucose passively exit into your bloodstream. It's just a beautiful, coordinated system.
And this right here brings us all the way back to our original question. We've met the microscopic team, we've seen how they work. Now let's connect it all back to that life-saving drink of salt, sugar, and water. Okay, get ready for this, because this number is just mind-blowing. That little symporter, the one that pulls in sodium and glucose, it is so powerful that it can cram glucose inside the intestinal cell to a level that is 30,000 times higher than what's in your intestine. 30,000x. That is an absolutely incredible feat of biological engineering.
And that is the secret. It all comes down to a simple principle called osmosis. See, when you pull that much sodium and that much glucose into the cell, you create an intense osmotic gradient. And there's a fundamental rule in biology. Where the solutes go, water is sure to follow.
And boom, there it is. That's the whole secret. Even when a nasty disease like cholera is ravaging the intestine and damaging its ability to absorb water normally, this powerful little symporter often keeps on working. So by drinking that special ORT solution, you're feeding it exactly what it needs, sodium and glucose. This allows it to run at full tilt, creating an osmotic force so strong that it literally yanks water from your gut, through the cell, and into your body, rehydrating you with life-saving speed.
And you know what's cool? This isn't just for extreme medical emergencies. You see this exact same principle in action every day. It's the science behind Pedialyte, which helps rehydrate sick kids. It's the science behind sports drinks like Gatorade that help athletes recover. They are all tapping into the same incredible cellular machinery.
So there you have it. We went from a simple drink all the way down to the intricate dance of a few proteins on a cell membrane, and then zoomed back out to a global health miracle that has saved millions of lives. It's just a stunning example of how understanding basic biology, how our cells work, can have a massive, massive impact in the real world.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Our cells are just packed with elegant, brilliant solutions like this one. What other life-changing secrets are hidden away inside them, just waiting for us to figure them out? Thanks for joining me on this one.